Hello, everybody. I'm Barbara Cox-Lovesy. Welcome to the Week 8 webinar. This is Writing Blogs That Convert. Now, this is so important because I'm a real one for not wasting people's time or not wasting my own time either, right? And so you want to put all your efforts into something that actually converts. You know, the word blog itself can actually be intimidating for people who are not necessarily professional writers. And I remember, my first blog took absolutely hours to write. It wasn't because I was writing an epic, book. It was because I was kind of moving at a snail's pace, I think, and every few sentences I would stop, I would rewrite, I would edit. So, tonight's webinar really is around generating some different ideas and going through my 10 steps to take a look at how you can, get that working, better for you. So let's take a look here. Tonight we're going to talk about creating a blog. We're going to talk about converting a blog. And as always, I have tasks for you. So the first thing, I always love a little quote, which is here. The first thing you learn when you're writing blogs is that people are one click away from leaving you. That's so true with any type of blog, website, social media, anything. So you always have to bear that in mind. So you've got to get to the point where you can't waste people's time. You've got to give them some value for their limited attention span. Now, we are all busy entrepreneurs on this, right? And so, yes, my attention span, if it doesn't grab me, like in the first sentence, I'm probably not going to continue reading. And we're going to talk about a lot of those things tonight. So, first of all, let's talk about generating ideas. Now, coming up with winning ideas is often the most difficult part of a blog, so it's crucial to carve out time for creative thinking. And to get started, consider your goals. I always talk about goals first, but it's so true, right? Your goals, your niche, your target audience, and what you want to offer your reader or your consumer. So just begin by jotting down all those types of stories your readers might be interested in. Who are they? What are their concerns? Where do they live? What topics might add value to them? And really, that is the place that I start for generating ideas. And then the topic just seems to evolve after that. In fact, I sometimes get 3 or 4 topics. So I jot those down and I try to do 3 or 4. Maybe you want to do a series. Maybe you want to do, what's coming next at the end of your blog. Watch out for next month. These teasers are always really good as well. So let's get straight into the 10 tips on blogging. And my tip number 1 is don't stop until you're 100% finished. Do you know what? I write this because this is actually one of my biggest mistakes that I have. So because it's one of the biggest mistakes, then, I'm just going to let someone else into the call. Hi, Tracy. I'm mid-flow, so I'm just going to hide you, okay? Is that okay? Let's see. How do I hide Tracy? Hi, I'm just gonna hide you with everyone. If that's okay? Then I'm mid flow. Let's see. Okay, so there we go. So really, this is one of my biggest mistakes that I actually make because, I have to just get it all down on paper. Yeah, get your blog post on paper. No matter how ugly it looks, it doesn't matter. Once you're finished, you can go back and you can edit. But you have to be in that brain dump flow mode. Do not edit while you write. It will slow down the process. It will interrupt your flow. You know what? Use like grammar fixing software afterwards. You've got your blog on paper. This is one of the most important things. Just let it flow, free flow. It's interesting, and I really learned from that. And I learned from U2's artist Bono. Now, if I saw this great documentary and this interview about how he writes music, and it's the same kind of creative way. Basically, what he does is he'll work with one of the other band members, whether it be just drums or just guitar, and that same drum or that same riff will just go over and over and over again. And he will just mumble words. Sometimes sentences come out, sometimes words come out, sometimes whole strings of lyrics come out. But that's how he does it. And when you see this process, it's really fascinating. If you can ever YouTube how U2's Bono, how U2's Bono, comes up with the words to the songs, it is fascinating. You need to be in that same focus, that same mode. Don't stop until you're 100% finished. And that's what he does. He'll be in the recording studio sometimes for 8 hours, and he'll just, pull it out. And within that 8 hours, he's got the basis of what he needs. It's the same place you need to be. Okay, so let's take a look at my number 2 is word count. Okay, these need to be 500 words minimum. Sometimes 1,500 words is ideal. Depends if you're doing a blog for someone else, whether you're guest blogging, whether you're blogging for yourself. It sometimes would seem like an impossible task to do 1,500 words. So start with your blogs being 500 words. If you start with that, keep them all the same after that. And study after study shows that longer blogs actually attract more links, likes, and shares, which is fascinating considering our attention span is about like this these days. But again, it's a different genre of social media that you're doing here. You're doing a blog, completely different genre for social media. So that, do what the study or the science says works. They say longer works. So for me, I normally go around 1,000 words, 1,500. But if you're just starting out, that might be too daunting. So then just definitely go to, 500 words, but keep it consistent. So don't do 250 words one time, 500 the next, 1,500 the next time, because don't forget, you are creating people who will constantly, want to read them. So you do need to have some continuity in there as well. Okay, my number 3 is create an outline. Again, this is super important. Don't sit and write a blog without a type of framework. And the outline will be your guide, and it'll make it much easier to keep the flow of your blog posts moving forward. So again, it depends if I'm doing something quite scientific or if I'm doing something a little bit fun and more interactive. But I always start with an image. Again, that image can, tell 1,000 words. It can be part of your presentation or your blog, or it can be part of the framework. So find a framework that works with you. Obviously, introduction and ending, top and tail. Call to action at the bottom. So introduction, call to action, and then your main body in between. Easy to read. I love bullet points, especially, I love my 10 steps. So I love that because they can kind of get to the idea of they know the top and tailing of stuff, right? If they come and visit your blog often, which is what you want them to do. So if it's always like a structure of 5 steps, 10 steps, this is what to do, then they can take that information away easily and they're more likely to read to the end. So again, creating that outline of how you want to structure your blogs is really important. My tip number 4 of 10 is have your target audience. So, define your ideal target audience prior to writing. You know who they are. Be extremely precise. Niche, niche, niche. Is your audience male or female? Are they old? Are they young? What age group are they in? Are they poor? Are they rich? Are they educated? Are they, high school dropouts? Whatever, how you're going to speak to them. The more specific you are when creating your market persona, the better. Okay? Because that will number one, gives you more of an outline, more of a structure, more of the grammar that you're going to use as well. I mean, I talk to so many different audiences. I know if something's being going into Europe, if I'm doing a guest blog, that I'm going to use more simple English than if I'm working with the Law Society. Okay, so I mean, it is just choose your audience and then grammatically choose what you're going to do with your topic around that as well. Super important for engagement. And again, call to action. My number 5 is make it look great. As I said, I always had an image that I use. Blogs have got to be easy on the eye, with a lovely image, with a structure that's there, with white space in between the words. Bullet points are always good. As I mentioned before, numbering things out. Step 1, step 2, step 3. Pictures throughout, links, anything that makes it easy for them to read. I love bullet points. I love numbers. I love steps. I love points and pictures. For me, if they glance at it and they like the look, it's a bit like how I read. Don't judge a book by its cover, but I do. I do. So I judge a blog by the cover. I judge a blog by the opening sentence. I judge a blog by how it sits on my website with the feature blog. What's going to capture their attention alongside the picture when they first hit my website. There's so many things that you want to take a look at, but the main thing is have it easy on the eye to look at, easy on the eye to scan and read. And watch your capital letters. Did you know that in English, so my ex-husband is a professor, a science professor, but in linguistics, okay, neurolinguistics. And it's really interesting how the eye jumps and how it's very difficult to read capital letters. So watch your use of capital letters, which is why a lot of the times I don't use them, because I do know that. So the eyes can't determine capital letters so much unless it's at the beginning of a sentence, so it doesn't have to jump to it. There's so many different things. Honestly, look into the linguistics of writing a blog and be scientific around it as well. So my tip number 6 is answer questions. Who, when, where, how, why, what. Your readers have questions. Maybe have a little Q&A at the end. Sometimes I do that. And, use a specific question as a title for your blog. And then answer the question in the blog comments below. Like, one of my latest webinars were what are the 5 biggest mistakes in corporate wellness? It's like, well, I don't know. So I'm going to come along and find out. But again, it's write a question in that, and if people have to think about it and if they don't know the answer, they are intrigued and they'll watch for it or they will search for it in your blog. So those are really good. Again, use questions throughout the blog. With the who is this blog for? And so sometimes, it's like I said at the beginning, don't waste people's time. Who is this blog for? This blog is for people who want to, reach X amount in their reach. And so I know if that's not me, I might skim a little bit, but I'll go to the next one. So it's all about making it relevant and really super targeted to what they want. And again, take a look at some of the people that you like. How do they write their blogs? And do they use these questions throughout? Because I think it's really quite important for that engagement, to get the reader thinking about how can they use this information as well. And that specific question that gets the reader thinking is engagement. That is engagement. And so therefore they will normally 100% of the time or 99% of the time finish reading your article, comment, or share. So that again is super important, super important. Okay, so my tip number 7 is to be passionate. You know, be passionate or go home, right? I mean, that's the thing. You know, people respond to emotion, and aiming for, you know, for creating some kind of this emotional reaction is what you really want with your reader. Okay, you really, really want that. And I think that is just so super important. I am so passionate about what I do. I'm a real champion of wellness. I'm a real champion for helping others achieve, whether it be achieving in greatness, whether it be achieving in their business, whether it be achieving in their health and vitality. But that passion shines through with everything that I do. And you know what? That will shine through with what you're doing. Remember, you are the expert. You are the expert writing this blog. And so let that passion, let that knowledge shine through to educate, inspire, and create an action from the reader because of your passion. And as I said before, that emotional reaction with your reader is again engagement. Okay, this is how you can practice engagement with everyone. Which leads me on really nicely to my number 8 is becoming that storyteller. And that passion you have within your business and how you can tell a story. You know, and this saying, storytelling is the best marketing. It is so true, so true. And the best writers are storytellers. They try to incorporate a story in each one of their blog, whether it's with a personal experience, a personal anecdote, knowledge sharing, something that's going to better someone else's life. So it is all around that. And I love that. That's what I find intriguing. That's what keeps me going. You know, it's really interesting because one of the most interesting audible books that I listened to recently was the 5 a.m. Club. And that really is a story. What is fascinating around the 5 a.m. Club is the author wanted to create a fictional story with 3 characters to tell the ethos behind his 5 a.m. Club theory. And, you know, I've talked to a lot of people about this book, which is really quite interesting in itself. It's like some people have found it difficult to get into, and some people have found it absolutely fascinating, and if anything, more impactful, because it's a self-help, self-development book around the benefits of waking up at 5 a.m. and working on your business or yourself at that time and carving out time away from distractions. But it was told in a fictional story way. Fascinating. So again, listening to other books yourself and different genres that you can gain inspiration from yourself, you know, is a really great way, a really, really great way to get emotion and pull that reader in and get them. So my tip number 9 is to be honest, be humble, and be personable. You know, just be yourself, right? Look, nobody knows it all. Nobody knows it all. The more personal you can be in your blog post, the better. You're not writing, you know, like a college essay, right, for your English professor. Okay, so it's completely different. You're writing for the amusement of the reader. That's a massive difference, massive difference. And sometimes when you take that pressure off yourself and to be honest, humble, and personable, then that's great. You know what? I still have spelling mistakes all the time in my stuff. So, so what? It's like I said, it's not written for my university English professor. It's written for the amusements of others. And actually, sometimes I get engagement when I make a mistake, or they question it, in some way, or the sentence doesn't read right. And it's just how it comes out. As long as the passion is there, then I believe that that's fine. People will see through some of the mistakes. And you know what? Nobody likes a know-it-all anyway. And you don't know it all. So that is the beauty of the honest, humble being and being personable as well. So bringing this to my final tip, which is solving problems. Okay? People have all kinds of different problems. And if your blog solves a problem, you've provided value for the reader. How great is that? It is so important to provide value because, that's kind of the giving back. That's why I love doing these webinars. I'm giving back. And sometimes when you give back, whether it be in a blog, be in a webinar, help somebody, it doesn't always come back from the same place. It can come back from other places. This is the beauty of the universe. It's the energy of giving and being able to receive, sometimes not from the area that you give from. And so the more solutions you can provide for your readers, for your clients, how amazing is that? Honestly, you will gain traction in your business in other ways, straight across the board. And, you just have to believe that that is what's going to happen. So those are the 10 points. And, I want to talk about having fun because I kind of liken blogging or giving webinars to working out. If you avoid it and have a bad attitude about it, then blogging becomes like a chore that you wish you'd never started, right? However, if you have a good attitude around it and realize that blogging is not a life or death exercise, you'll have fun and you'll look forward to blogging as often as you blog. And so it's really important to have that great attitude around everything that you do. Sometimes you're going to get people reading it. Sometimes you're going to get engagement. Sometimes you're not. That's not the point. The point is the activity that builds your business in a well-rounded way that you can repurpose that information maybe 1 or 2 years down the road. I repurpose all of the content that I create. The great thing is that it's in the diary to create, and I'm accountable to that. Okay? I mean, all of the webinars that I'm doing for the wellness ambassadors will be recreated. The great thing is that I have committed to creating the content for the wellness ambassadors. I am accountable to you. I'm accountable to myself to make them. All right? Like you have to be accountable to yourself to create content in some particular way that you use to repurpose further down the line. And having fun while you're doing it. Then you really need to look at sharing, okay? Now's for the conversion part. Okay, so again, you've kind of polished everything. Everything's looking really attractive, all your kind of nice graphics, whatever you want to put in there. Now it's time to share your work and invite your consumers to engage. They've engaged on a one-to-one, but you want to engage them in another way. You want them to share it. Make it easy for them to share. Teach them how to share and ask them to share. Yeah, there's so many ways to optimize your content for social media. So again, you can post it on social media, share your tips, share the post. tailor the content to individual platforms, no matter what platform that you're using. Ask people to share them. Tag in influencers. Use hashtags. Get your content in front of possible readers as much as possible. And encourage that user-generated content from your followers as well. Capitalize on the timeliness of your blog, because it could be really topical. There might be things in the news. There might be seasonal. There might be something that's happened in your business life that you really want to capitalize on this. And then you want to utilize your analytics to track your success. Now, whether you can do that or not, that's great. I've never personally done that so much, but I know my team does, and we are tracking a lot of where are the people coming from that are looking at my site, and do more of that. And again, you can read up on some simple techniques that improve your social media presence just with the webinars that I've done. We've done some social media webinars, so go back and watch those and get some more ideas how you can get your blog out there. The other thing is about building a database. Have a call to action in your blog. Join my, mail list, and then you can, read these blogs first time. That's all those kinds of things. And once you've built that list even more and more and more, then you email those followers from your site to help them connect to your next blog. And the circle goes around, as in the social media marketing webinar that I did. Then you need to repeat this and repeat and get good. Repetition builds this continuous wave of interaction with everybody, and consistency is in there as well. Creating content consistently will attract more readers to your site and establish your authority in the field. So keeping up with your schedule, build that routine, and repeat the steps. Then sit back and watch your readership grow. That's the great thing. It will, automatically learn to repeat, which is great, which is where we're at. Repeat, repeat, repeat. Repetition is the mother of, all things, isn't it? It's all about repetition and making sure you are testing and measuring within that time. Create the content, build the routine, build the schedule, and repeat the steps over and over again. People are watching for it, they're looking for it, and they're not surprised when they get it. They're almost like, I wonder when so-and-so is coming out with another blog, because the last one was really good. It's like, oh, bang, there it is. You can build up to them as well. I think it's just super, super important. So let's just do a quick recap of these 10 steps here as well. So we have, don't stop until you're 100% finished. Again, super important for that. Let it flow, let it flow. Word count, anywhere from 500 to 1500. It's not a university thesis here, but you have to get a succinct amount of information over in that time that the reader can actually feel engaged and walk away with value as well. You want to create that outline. If you always have the same introduction and the same ending, which is topping and tailing, whatever your style is in the middle, steps, points, bullet points, then that is your style. Create your style, create your outline, because you know what? Once you have that done, it's so easy to flow. Mind your target audience. You need to be really niche. Who are you speaking to, and what are you talking about? And then you have to make it look great, right? Make it attractive. Make it really attractive on your blog site. Spend time. I love pictures from Unsplash. Unsplash is a free downloadable it's sort of picture resource, And so you can download them there so you can get some really good imagery and make sure that it's attractive for them. Answer questions. Have the question within the body itself afterwards, or within the actual title. Entice them in, get them thinking. Remember, if they think, that's also the engagement that you're looking for. Be passionate. Just be passionate about everything that you do. I know you are, and let that shine through your writing. And become that storyteller, because it's so much easier. It really is. And the flow is just absolutely there. And remember to be honest, humble, and personable. And just be yourself. Just be yourself in the blogs. People love that. They buy from you. People buy from people. And that's how you can get a great following. But do make sure that you're offering a solution to whatever they might need as well. Have fun along the journey and just enjoy, enjoy, enjoy. You want to learn how to share and repeat. So that's tonight's webinar on creating a blog that converts. Honestly, there's so much subliminal messaging that you can get into a blog. The main thing is it's going to elevate your position of you becoming an expert. Once you create that trust with everybody, it is just so super important. So I want to thank everyone for joining me this evening. It's really great. For those of you watching on replay, it's really great to have you on replay. And here is to fantastic blogging. And I'll see you over in the next webinar next week.